Have you ever been terrified to open a medical bill? You're not alone. For millions of Americans, that thick envelope from the hospital or collection agency doesn't just bring anxiety, it feels like a legal threat. You might have even heard someone say, if you don't pay that hospital bill, they'll throw you in jail. But is that really true? Can you go to jail for not paying medical bills? Or is that just another myth meant to scare people? Welcome back to Due Process Daily, where we break down the law in plain English so you know exactly where you stand. Let's get straight to it. No, you cannot be jailed simply for owing a medical debt. That's the short answer. But, and this is a big but, there are legal traps and loopholes that can feel like you're being punished like a criminal just for being poor or sick. So let's unpack the truth, the myths, and the dangerous gray areas in between. Here's the legal foundation first. In the United States, debtors' prisons were abolished in the 1830s. That means you cannot be arrested or jailed just because you owe a debt, even a massive one. Medical debt is a civil matter, not a criminal one. So if you skip out on a hospital bill or can't afford your ambulance ride, that's not going to land you in a jail cell, at least not directly. But here's where things get tricky and shady. Let's say you're sued over a medical bill. Maybe a hospital or collection agency files a lawsuit in small claims or civil court. If you don't respond to that lawsuit or you miss a court date, the creditor can get a default judgment against you. That judgment gives them legal leverage. They can garnish your wages, freeze your bank account, or place a lien on your property. Still no jail, right? Not so fast. If that judgment requires you to show up in court again, let's say for a post-judgment debtor examination, and you fail to appear, now the court can hold you in contempt. In some jurisdictions, that contempt can result in a bench warrant, and that can land you behind bars, not because of the debt itself, but because you didn't follow a court order related to the debt. And this is where the myth of going to jail for medical bills gains its power. People don't realize that missing a hearing or even just not receiving notice can lead to arrest. There have been real-world cases where someone was arrested over a medical debt, but legally it wasn't the debt that triggered the arrest. It was failure to comply with a court order. Let's look at a few examples that have made headlines. In Illinois, a man named Paul Aker was arrested by U.S. Marshals over a $1,500 student loan he took out decades earlier. While that wasn't a medical bill, the principle is the same. He wasn't jailed for the debt, but for failure to appear in court. He claimed he never got notice of the hearing. In Kansas, there were several reports of people being jailed over unpaid medical debt. Judges issued arrest warrants when debtors missed hearings. Sometimes these were debtors who didn't even realize they had to be in court. So here's the truth. Medical debt doesn't put you in jail, but the legal system around it can be used as a weapon. And in practice, the outcome can feel like criminal punishment. Now, let's look at how medical debt actually works. When you visit a hospital, emergency room, or get surgery, you're typically billed later. If you have insurance, they'll be billed first. But if you're uninsured, or if your insurance only covers part of it, you're on the hook for the rest. Many providers will give you 30, 60, or 90 days to pay. After that, the debt is usually sent to collections. Once a collections agency takes over, things escalate. You'll get constant calls, letters, threats, sometimes even lawsuits. But remember, none of that gives them the right to arrest you. The Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, or FDCPA, puts strict rules on how they can contact you. Collectors can't threaten you with jail, call you at unreasonable hours, harass you, misrepresent who they are, but they can sue you, and that's the moment the civil system becomes very real. Let's talk strategy. What should you do if you can't afford your medical bills? First, don't ignore them. That's the biggest mistake people make. Even if you can't pay, communicate. Hospitals often have financial assistance programs, especially nonprofit hospitals, which are legally required to offer some level of charity care. Next, if you're contacted by a debt collector, verify the debt. Ask for a written validation notice. You have rights under the FDCPA to request this, and they must provide it. If you're sued, do not skip court. This is the danger zone. Even if you can't afford a lawyer, showing up can prevent a default judgment and can give you a chance to explain your financial situation. You might also consider talking to a legal aid organization in your state. Many provide free or low-cost legal advice for debt-related cases, especially if it involves a court summons. Another option, bankruptcy. It's not ideal and it's not for everyone, but medical debt is one of the leading causes of bankruptcy filing. If your bills are overwhelming and you qualify, Chapter 7 bankruptcy can wipe out most unsecured debt. including medical bills. But again, talk to a qualified bankruptcy attorney before taking that step. Now let's clear up some of the top myths people believe about medical debt. Myth number 1, if I go to the ER and can't pay, they'll send the police after me. False. Hospitals can't criminally charge you for unpaid bills. They may refer your debt to collections or sue you in civil court, but you won't be arrested simply for not paying. Myth number 2, if I move out of state, the debt goes away. Not true. Medical debt follows you. Creditors can pursue you across state lines, and your credit score can suffer nationally. Myth number 3, medical debt can't hurt my credit score anymore. Not entirely true. Recent policy changes have limited how long medical debt can appear on credit reports, and some unpaid debts under $500 may no longer be reported, but large debts still can, and any lawsuit-related judgment will absolutely show up. Myth number 4, I can just wait it out and it'll disappear. Sort of. There is a statute of limitations on collecting medical debt, which varies by state, typically 3 to 6 years, but be careful. If you make even one small payment, it can reset the clock. So what should you actually do if you're buried in medical debt right now? 1, request an itemized bill. You'd be shocked how many medical bills contain errors. Challenge anything that looks wrong. 2, negotiate the bill. Ask if there's a cash pay discount or if you can settle for less. 3, apply for financial aid, especially at nonprofit hospitals. Don't assume you don't qualify. 4, work out a payment plan. Many providers offer no interest payment plans. 5, document everything. Keep records of all communication, payments, and correspondence. 6, know your rights. Learn your state's laws on debt collection, garnishment, and court procedures. Remember, the system can feel stacked against people with medical debt, especially when it's unexpected, unfair, or financially catastrophic. But being informed is your best defense. You can't be thrown in jail for being broke or getting sick. But if you ignore the legal process tied to medical debt, things can get ugly. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by medical debt or harassed by collectors, you're not alone, and you do have options. Don't fall for the fear tactics, but don't ignore the legal realities either. Thanks for tuning in to Due Process Daily. If you found this video helpful, informative, or eye-opening, help us keep the channel growing by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. The information contained in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice.